Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome to our last session of the sixth edition of this diploma program for first psychological aid for migrant refugees and displaced people, pandemic times, psychosocial challenges. Every Wednesday and Friday, we've been adjourning religiously in a very committed way, and today's our last session. This diploma program wouldn't have been possible without all the institutional will of so many institutions that collaborated in the effort. That's why this session is a celebration today. Welcome. We are all graduating from the diploma program amidst such complicated times. I hope this is a session that you all enjoy. First, I will give the floor to Dr. Patricia Zamudio. She is a familiar face to you all, and she is co-organizer of this seminar. Ajadet, thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here today to welcome you to our celebration to the last session of the diploma program. I want to congratulate you all for your outstanding participation as students, teachers, organizers, interpreters, funding institutions, and everybody who has made this possible. Please be welcome. I'm going to recap how it all started. Our idea was to reflect upon different ways of thinking and acting in order to face uncertain times like the ones that we're facing right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic, lockdown, confinement, and physical separation. We invited you to walk along migrants, displaced persons across not only the continent but across the world to get adapted to the reality and to be able to understand or shared reality and to accompany them through their transformation. Through this diploma program, we've learned a lot, we've shared a lot, we've reflected upon the challenges that a pandemic entails for people on the move. We learned about mental health and biopolitics. We learned about how mutual fear can weaken and lead to discrimination and how it can weaken solidarities. There's people who transcend such fear and who treat each other equally, and people who collaborate. We got closer to networks who promote integration, solidarity, and access of people on the move to different rights. We want to build a society aiming for transforming actions. We need to recognize that our pain is inherent to inequalities and uneven powers that prevail in the world where we live in. And in order to get rid of our pain, we need to change the system at its very root. We are incorporating self-care into our everyday endeavors. We need to look after ourselves and mutually, and we need to be careful with what we do. Heidegger would say that everything that we love should be looked after, and everything that we look after is loved. Remember the question I posed to you on our last session called Self-Care for a Possible World? In the middle of a pandemic such as this one, what's the most important thing at the end of the day? What is essential throughout this time during the diploma program? Altogether, we've learned that it is essential that the past isn't what defines our future. We need to let the present be what defines the future. That present that we can get hold of, the present that we can feel and touch. We need to change the narratives that change what's important. We need to put in practice our critical thinking. We need to be creative and we need to seize the circumstances that we live. You showed to be creative during the different sessions and the breakouts and on your everyday jobs. We knew what your work on the front line were, and we know that we have certain habits or our ways of behaving and doing. We need to listen to what the new generation of leaders tells us. You're proposing new ways of living reality. We need to propose uh, daring projects, and we need to be indignant, and we need to go beyond anger, and we need to ensure dignity for everybody, especially the dignity for the people on the move. And as a sister from the Portados Unidos en la Lucha showed us, that anything that has to do with migrants, refugees, and displaced persons, there's networks that need to be present. Migrants, displaced persons, and refugees, they always need to be present. So bearing all in mind, I would like to continue working, and I would like to welcome you to the partial closure of this diploma program. Good afternoon, and let's continue with our session. Thank you, Ashadet. Patty, thank you very much. The intention today is to have a celebration for everybody because we were together along these 4 months. We're going to do several collaborative exercises to share the results of what we all generated. And right now, my colleague, Janet Corona, is going to share a link with you on the chat. Please answer this question with just one word. What are the main learnings from this diploma program in just one word? So, well, you can write down several words, but just one word answers. And we're going to create a cloud of words. And by the end of this session, we're going to share what were the learnings from this diploma program for the group of us who are here, and we start getting the first words. Thank you very much. And in a while, I will share the results with you. Thank you very much. I will show you the results later. And now let me share with you a few videos recorded by some remote branches and some institutions that participated remotely in this diploma program. As you know, it wasn't possible to get together to attend the classes, but there was a very interesting accompaniment strategy and that happened locally and in different branches, and it's important to recognize this effort. On behalf of Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México in Los Angeles, please be acknowledged and recognized for finishing the 6th diploma program on psychological first aid for migrants, refugees, and displaced people. It is incredible for us that more people can have the necessary tools and knowledge to perform this important task. Such a human endeavor and so necessary in the world that we live in. I am celebrating with you this important challenge. Congratulations to Iniciativa Ciudadana for organizing the 6th edition of this diploma program. I'm sending you a virtual hug, and I'm sharing with you this virtual event. Thank you very much again. My name's Alvis Jacqueline Vasquez Herrera. I work for the shelter Hermanos en el Camino. I accompany asylum seekers and refugees. Hello, everybody. Diana Mendoza. I am a legal counselor in Hermanos en el Camino. We are part of the team that collaborates in this organization, and we are graduates from the 6th edition of this diploma program. A hug to you all and congratulations. Thank you very much for your participation in this diploma program. This is a privileged space of dialogue where we place in the center the people on the move, migrants and refugees, the possibility of connecting with other people working for these vulnerable groups. And those of you who start working in these issues allow us to improve our practices and our perspectives. This diploma program made us review our actions in the field of human rights constantly so that our jobs or so that our work is always better and better. It's important to meet in dialogue, but also to meet in the fight. Hello, Jose Luis Manso from Casa Migrante Saltillo. It's a little bit nippy here in Saltillo this time of the year. And let me tell you that dates always come, and we're celebrating the closure of this diploma program on psychological first aid for migrant people on 6th edition. Every ending is a new beginning, and today we are going to start using what we learned, making community in this diploma program. We are located in the north of the country, and we want to congratulate the graduates from the diploma program. Those of you who have not studied the diploma program yet, it's never late to finish what you already started. So congratulations, and let's continue accompanying and fighting for human rights in Mexico. Congratulations to everybody who finished the diploma program on psychological first aid. We are fully convinced of the time you've dedicated, of how much effort you've put, your deliverance and responsibility, and I think this is going to be really fruitful. Thank you very much. Congratulations to all of the students that are finishing the diploma program today. I hope that you use what you learned through these long months so that you can continue with your missions and benefiting everybody who needs a friendly hand to move on. Hello, my name is Maria Estela Diaz Alvarado. I am representative of the health representatives at Brighton Park in Chicago, the US. We are very fortunate to having taken this diploma program for migrant persons. All of the lessons learned, all the sharings and learnings that we are acquiring from the diploma program will be extremely useful to improve and to broaden our expectations as social workers. It's been a great experience. It's the first time that I participate in such an initiative. My fellow sisters think and feel the same. We're very excited. We know that we are going to attain more at our working place thanks to this diploma program. Later, we're going to continue with listening to other voices from our summoning institutions. Now I want to share with you, following this logic of putting these persons at the center of our endeavors, week after week, over the past 5 or 6 weeks of this diploma program, we built a psychosocial basic model of intervention, and it is for you to reinforce what you're already doing on the field so that you could land your ideas on a baseline document. Results this year were amazing. Unfortunately, we had to choose some works as a sample to show you what you did. And if your work isn't showcased here, it's not that it was not good enough. It's just that in order for us to showcase all of your works, all of your videos, it would take us 1 week, one full week here. So this is just a quick sample of the different works made. First, I'm going to share the video by Eder Lopez from Casa Refugiados program. And his final work was on asylum seekers and refuge and shelter. Hello, my name's Eden. I'm doing this video and the video just stopped. I think we're experiencing a glitch with the video. Please bear with us. Technology is playing us a prank, but I'm going to try to show the video again. But now I'm going to share with you another video recorded by Heriberto Vega from El Refugio in Guadalajara, Jalisco. His final work was on asylum seekers. My name is Heriberto Vega Villaseñor. I work at El Refugio Casa del Migrante. I work in research, but I'm also part of what we've called, and the video stopped again. Every event needs to be accompanied by glitches or technical problems. We're figuring out why can't we project the videos, but while we do this, I'm going to hand over to Ileana Osorio. He works in the University of California in Berkeley. It's one of our summoning institutions. Liliana, the floor is yours. Hello, Asha. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a privilege to be here with you today on the 6th edition of this diploma program for displaced migrant and refugees. We've been experiencing some technical problems, but Asha and I have had different conversations, and we've said that throughout these 4 months, you have surmounted so many difficulties in your private lives, in your professional lives, and now in your academic lives as well, as part of this diploma program. I want to congratulate you for completing this program over 4 months of study. I hope you've learned considerably. This is critical times for all of us, but most of all for the population of migrants. The COVID crisis has been just one more element added to their difficulties throughout their trajectory across countries. During this diploma program, we could analyze the different problems that migrants face, not only from a conceptual perspective or not only from a clinic or a health perspective. What I loved is that human rights were at the center. Like that, we can learn and we could aim for more equitable solutions to address this population's problems. We had the privilege to have presenters and participants coming from so many different countries. This shows that mental health conditions experienced by migrants is similar anywhere else in the world. This gave us the opportunity to share experiences, knowledge, good practices, and we were able to foster collaboration amongst everybody who works to help and to assist migrants around the world. A wonderful job has been done amongst the different humanitarian networks, not only in Mexico, but in different countries. This experience has been incredible. The global focus given has been great. I want to thank all participants and academics who dedicated their time to present and share their knowledge, to review homeworks, and I want to congratulate Ashadet Adame and Elio Villaseñor from Iniciativa Ciudadana for the wonderful work that they've made during 6 years. For us at Berkeley, it's been an honor and a privilege to be part of this wonderful job that we hope will serve and will help to improve the conditions that migrants are living so that we can counteract migration around the world. Thank you very much. Liliana, thank you very much for your beautiful words, and we will see each other again in the next edition of this diploma program. I hope we've gotten rid of the pandemic by then. I'm going to try to show you the video now. Again, let's cross our fingers and hopefully the technology gods will be with us this time. Thank you. First of all, I would like to start telling you why did I choose to focus on this population, which is people who are asylum seekers and people who have the condition of refugees. I chose this topic because of two major reasons. First of all, because I am working for an organization that serves these populations, Casa Refugiados program in Mexico City. And the second and foremost is when I was a child, I was born in the state of Chiapas, and I could see how different people would walk along the railroad, on the railroad tracks on their way to the US. And right now, Mexico is also considered to be a destination country. So I remember these persons asking for help. Sorry, they would go to my grandmother's house, and she would feed them, she would give them water. So that's stuck in my memory, and that's why I wanted to focus my final work on this. As for the rest, my work is made up by different elements. For example, the attention that people should get in the receiving country. I also touched upon strategies. I am mentioning this from my own experience. Also, the connection there has to be between civil organizations and international organizations, or the government support that there has to exist. Ideally, the relation and the connection that there has to be with the private sector, so that the needs of people coming to a foreign country are all met, because they come here completely unprepared. And just to wrap up, I mentioned self-care, which is very important when you're dealing with this type of populations, because being exposed to very complicated issues, that translates into an emotional burden that you need to tackle, so that they can get rid of that emotional burden. And last but not least, I would like to thank the diploma program on psychological first aid for refugees and migrants and displaced persons. Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Heriberto Vega Villaseñor, and I work at Refugio Casa del Migrante. I work in research, but I'm also part of what we've called the board of directors. I'm very pleased for taking part on this diploma program. My final work was focused on people who come to our shelter seeking asylum and aiming for the condition of refugees. We had to create a special section within our shelter to lodge these people because they stay for longer in our premises. Uh, what I included in my final work is that without any doubt, all persons have the right to aim for the condition of refugee, but this paperwork is long and cumbersome, and not everybody can follow through the process. The shelter also defines or checks if we are in the conditions of accompanying them. We provide them with an explanation every time that they are applying for asylum, and we have different criteria to choose and to help them uh, to help detect the elements that are important during this paperwork process. And we combine the legal unit and humanitarian aid unit. We provide them with accompaniment, we give them legal counseling, and we accompany them also in what relates to personal growth. They are aiming for a condition of refugee, but we also want to privilege the human condition, and there's a series of steps that we take in order to make sure that every process gets to the final part of the road. And we want that their condition of refugees is not only something that reads on paper. So we open up another line of action that we call social insertion. This is the project I worked on within this diploma program. Everything that had to do with psychosocial attention was very valuable for me, very useful, and as well as experiences shared from other places. In my team, we're all very thankful, and I want to congratulate everybody who participated, and thank you very much to the organizers. Heriberto, thank you very much. And next, I'm going to share with you a video by Jessica Juarez from Casa del Migrante Saltillo. Her final work delved into children, boys and girls.
Cambiemos.
Today I'm going to present the route to take care of girls and boys who are accompanied, especially for the Casa de Saltillo, specifically in the field work that I had already done in this shelter with this group. In this regard, this proposal is also part of some findings that have to do with the different experiences of girls and boys and how they develop in spaces like this one. I would like to stress two relevant aspects. The first one is that even though they migrate as a family, there is important laws with some other close relationships with which they should also have a new reconfiguration of family roles. And the second one, which I think is more relevant in the case of this proposal, is that the shelters, specifically the Casa del Migrante de Saltillo, before this proposal has to do with new social spaces together with different players. And therefore, I'm talking about the staff, some other migrants, adults, and children who will be having different practices in order to take care of the children. In the proposal, we took into account different actions such as promote the usage of participating techniques in order to avoid re-victimization and to promote activities that have to do with eco-learning. This has to do with the fact that children have expressed the need to continue studying and to continue with the studies that were affected due to forced migration. The actions that should be avoided, first of all, I think has to do with avoiding to talk in general terms about childhood and to acknowledge that we talk about multiple childhood and complex according to different factors. And the second one is that if we are talking about a girl, we need to take into account parents and mothers in all the different steps of the process. If we don't take into account parents, would represent a mistake. With the proposal, we also want to strengthen all the medical, psychological services as part of the promotion of health of children together with their families in a horizontal and collaborative way. We want to have multidisciplinary groups in order to have programs focused to this group. We also want to promote activities that will allow the learning process through games with the development of ludotech in order to improve the intellectual development of the children, everything in the framework of the family accompanying services, and to take into account parents in this process in order to be able to identify specific needs. Finally, we are trying to have a collaboration work among the different institutions such as ACNUR, as well as different local universities, Hukani Foundation, among others. At large, this would be what we are proposing with this route, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, Graciela. And with this, we're going to finish the first block, and then we are going to be presenting some other information. And now I want to continue with these different videos that you sent us from our remote headquarters or seats, as well as institutions that summoned to this course. And you are going to see also people who we all love very much. I want to send you special greetings to all the participants in this course that has to do with the special certificate course in psychological first aid for migrants, refugees, and displaced persons. Thank you very much for the effort, for making this mental effort. This is very complicated in these complicated times. Thank you very much for opening your ears, your heart, your mind to share, to learn, and to listen experiences, reflections, and to open up to different ways of looking in order to be able to implement the better work and to serve individuals and migrants we accompany. I hope this has been very fruitful, and please keep on going with great strength in order to be able to implement everything that we've been learning. Thank you very much, and greetings to all of you. Good afternoon, I suppose, to all of you. You who were part of these course in psychological first aid for migrants, refugees, and displaced persons. I would like to send you greetings and congratulate you for your interest in this topic that I believe represents one of the personal projects each one of you must have since you are part of this course. And I am sure that as you were able to see and to listen in this long series of papers and presentations, many of the ones who are involved in migration have been engaged with this topic for several years, for several decades. I started as of 1982, nearly 38 years, and I never stopped working in this topic because it represents a topic that has different faces. We can see it from the perspective of commitment towards these population with these individuals in mobility, from the political perspective, from public service, as well as from the academic perspective, which is my own field, but we can also see it from different perspectives: economic, political, history, culture, literature, art. I would like to invite all of you to continue to be concerned with this issue and working in a continuous way, because every day we will be getting new information. Every day we can find this type of individuals. Finally, I would like to greet all of you. Thank you very much for your patience after this long path, but nevertheless, I believe that it is going to be very fruitful for each one of you. Thank you very much. Hi, friends. I want to greet you at the end of this certificate course. It has been something, as usual, very positive to be part in this course. This year, we talked about the new political side. This is something that I really love, beside the fact of migration that has been presented by myself in other years. I know this course has been very interesting. I want to congratulate of you for concluding it in this very complicated time we have been experiencing and we are still experiencing. We need to get more strength for the next course, and I send you a big hug to all of you. Good afternoon. I want to congratulate Iniciativa Ciudadana as well as all the institutions that are part of this certificate course in psychological first aid for migrants, refugees, and displaced persons in the pandemic challenges times. In the context of the double sanitary and economic pandemic that is affecting most migrants in different modalities, the quality and the rightness of these six courses has two important features. From the Zacatecas University in Mexico, we can say that this certificate course has provided for basic provisions, and this is something that has represented a collective challenge. The first one has to do with the great international summoning power of different entities that work with the migrants in different modalities, which is a must to own all the psychological tools with this psychosocial focus. The second important contribution during 4 months has to do with a great academic strength as well as the broad experience supported in practice on the psychological support with a psychosocial focus. In fact, this course has represented a great toolbox of theoretical and practical elements on the work that has to do with migrants in different modalities. The third provision or contribution has to do with the great wealth of psychosocial experiences as well as the challenges faced in the work that was observed in different countries and in different continents regarding what has to do with human mobility. And the fourth contribution represents a great possibility of generating a network, an international network of learnings, mergers, and works on this topic. Out of these, we are able to generate a collective challenge, the one that has to do with taking advantage of all of these potential aspects in order to generate different collaboration activities in the different contexts in which we are all involved on human mobility with migrants and returned displaced refugee migrants. All of these wide range of human beings that undergo mobility in the world. I want to stress our acknowledgement to Iniciativa Ciudadana, to all the different institutions involved, teachers as well as students, and I hope this collective challenge will be taken into account and implemented among all of us, because that is the only way how we will be able to improve all the tools, all the concepts, all the experiences that were obtained collectively in this course. A big hug to all of you and keep on going. Now, I would like to give the floor to Alexander Bay. He's the director of Profil from the German Agency for Development, who since last year, I'm sorry, I cannot hear her. I think she has some problems with her microphone. Please, I want to give you the floor. Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you, and I want to greet all the participants as well as the different institutions who have participated in this course. I would like to greet on behalf of the field set, as well as to congratulate all of you for concluding this course. All of you who, due to the pandemic, attended this virtual course. I want to thank specifically the 73 people who received the benefits from the scholarship we provided. The main objective of us was to help you have useful tools such as this course on your daily work in public service as well as in the different entities. From our perspective, this is a very important course, and that is why I would like to thank all the teachers and professors who were part of this course, even all those who were able to be part of this program late at night from Europe. And on behalf of Profil, I would like to say that our objective, as we have several times presented, is that together with ACNU, we want to strengthen the local integration and sustainable integration in the three pilot states of our Jalisco Jarrito Puebla project. At present, we are starting to work with some of the present institutions, but our objective is to have mergers with all of you with the objective of reaching these common objectives that have to do with integration to our stakeholders. Future actions, I hope, that we will be able to work together. And I hope that some of you will be part of the joint processes of the project. I want to greet Elio Villaseñor, who is the director of the Iniciativa Ciudadana, and I want to congratulate Asayet interpreters as well as all the ones who were involved in this course. And I want to thank specifically on behalf of my institution, and I hope that in some other moment, in some other courses, we will be able to be part of them and to continue supporting them. Thank you. Thank you very much for the second consecutive year. They believed in this project and they continue to strengthen our network in the different communities, and we hope you will be part of new courses and new adventures. Now, we are going to continue presenting some of the videos for that represent some of the final works of this course. And right now, I'm going to share with you the video from Gaby Sanchez, Families Belong Together in Tijuana, Baja California. She has a final work on LGBT population. Hi. This videotape has as main objective to explain the different proposals based in my experience that were analyzed for this final work. My proposals basically are three. First of all, relationship and strategic alliance among the different organizations that are working in favor of all the ones who are in mobility context, the ones who are requesting asylum as well as refuge. This is because I've been able to notice that each organization is working in an independent and individual way without integrating it with other organizations. And sometimes these efforts are doubled or we reply activities, and therefore we do not have some resources that we could have. The second proposal is that it should be developed from the best practices each institution has. This means that the ones who has great achievements, great fulfillments regarding resources should be the leading organization to get these resources. For example, if one organization has great experience and has been able to have great success regarding providing legal or medical assistance, these organizations should be the one that will be leading this type of activities. In this way, we will be able to have synergy, strategic alliance with the best practices, good results. And the third proposal is to do this as of the organizations being closer to the places where these individuals are located, the ones who are on their mobility or are searching for asylum. This means that different organizations are providing different things, but they are provided from their own spaces. The objective of this work is vice versa. This means that the organization should be close to the migrants and not vice versa, not the migrants to get closer to the organizations. In this way, we will be facilitating the process because frequently individuals have some lacks, they have some specific needs, and therefore start not having enough resources to go to the places where they can request some support or help. For example, in my specific case, I am the only psychologist who is visiting the different shelters located in Tijuana in a regular way, on weekly basis, in a continuous way, in order to provide continuous service. Many other organizations, of course, offer psychological support, but from their own spaces, their own headquarters, or in a way that is not a continuous way. So I believe that if we can provide that, if we can get close with our best practices, with quality and with warmth to the individuals, of course, we will be able to have a bonding network that will not only support and facilitate, but that will generate the objective of self-management, objectives of autonomy and self-sufficiency. Thank you very much and see you later. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to share with you the video of the work of Rosanelli Mesa from Monterrey, Nuevo León. And she also talked about the people who are looking for refugees or shelter. I'll come back to you, Rosie, while I'm aiming to upload your video, but now I'm going to present Efrain Medrano from Tijuana, Baja California, and he's talking about unaccompanied children. Good morning, I am here in Tijuana. This is the work I want to present. I live here. I am Efrain Gonzalez. If I had known that you were going to give me the opportunity of recording something, probably I would have done a more serious work. But I think that it is important that you took into account the group I work with, which has to do with unaccompanied children and teenagers. I am on this wall because I believe this is a very important point in Mexico, where it seems that the years of many migrants crash. For us, this represents a very important benchmark because this represents a place where we are migrants. I come from Chiapas. Why I decided to pick this population? I think they are highly vulnerable. I'm convinced on that. Children and teenagers who are unaccompanied, they are all by themselves, but they face a great risk. Frequently, they do not know they are facing any risk, specifically teenagers who frequently are part of the criminals. They cross Mexico and suddenly they find this wall. But there are a lot of people searching for new opportunities, and we, all the ones who are working in the case of migrants, have to be very bright, very clever. We have to work together. We have to understand all the individuals as well as these minors. I hope we could all be working together in order to support this group. Thank you. From Tijuana, Baja California, we go to the Bajío area in Mexico in order to present the work of Daphne Valdez. From Querétaro, hi, I'm Daphne Valdez. This video has to do with my final work in this course for migrants, refugees, and displaced persons pandemic time and the psychosocial effects. In my final work has to do with representing what has to do with new working ways, with new ways to detect risk factors. In my specific case, I worked in this project with teenagers to be able to detect which risk factors are found, which protection factors can be implemented, on which we have to work, and that at the right moment we will be able to have this first contact with these teenagers that has good quality that will allow us to strengthen as well as skills to support these teenagers that can improve resilience, that can favor what has to do with the emotion and feeling expression. That is why in this course, many experiences have been shared by many colleagues from different countries in different situations that precisely nourish our activity as public servants, as representatives of institutions. And this is something that will not only support this migrant population, but will also be supporting the ones who work with migrants, favoring and developing new tools to have more self-acknowledgement, self-care in order to improve our work. This means that we will be able to have enough tools to take care of our emotional health, but also to share them and to develop among migrants tools to help them with their emotional health. Now, I want to give the floor to Andrea Villaseñor from Hispanics in Philanthropy, HIP, as we call them. This institution has been funding since several years, several scholarships for individuals not only from Mexico, but also to benefit those that are in the US and Central America. There are several adventures that we are planning to do with them before the 7th course to do jointly. Andrea, please, could you open your microphone, please? You have the floor. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, you and Elio. I am very happy to share this space with all of you to listen all the congratulations and all the nice words and to see so many projects with such excitement. First of all, I want to congratulate you. I think that the fact that you were able to have this course in the midst of a pandemic has a great merit. I really admire you. You've been providing so much information and sending this information that has been so relevant. It is very difficult to pick one topic. I would like to acknowledge all the work done by Iniciativa Ciudadana. I think that every year you do this better and you improve it. So I am very proud. I'm from HIP, very happy. And you should feel very satisfied of this mini collaboration we've been having with you. I want to thank you and I want to acknowledge the work and this very important process that you have been fostering. Simply, I would like to present the short thought. Now that I finished this year, a little right before this space, we were closing a session with another initiative with support from HIP, and we were saying that we wanted this year to be over. This year has been so complicated for everyone that I believe, and also to see some scenario in which we have been saying that we are facing a crisis. We've been experiencing continued crisis. Before we were talking about the crisis of human mobility, everything worsened up with the pandemic, but the truth is that this is a continued crisis that will continue to be a crisis due to the lack of geopolitical stability as the one that we are observing in Central America, the one that we have been noticing in Venezuela or in Central America. So I think that if we continue moving and presenting the lack of equality to see it from a different perspective, from different genders, also to analyze the interest and the specific needs of specific needs and collective groups, specifically in those ones that are so vulnerable as the LGTB. I believe is a great progress. And I think this is one of the response pathway for this crisis. We are, of course, before deepened inequalities. This pandemic crisis made these more obvious inequalities worse. And the challenges that we are facing in the future are bigger, specifically for the ones who have been betting and devoted their lives for all those ones who are in a mobility situation. That is why I think that the challenge you will be facing after this course are many, but nevertheless, I think that we need to have this type of spaces to have access to this type of courses. And I believe this is something that will give everyone more tools in order to respond to daily needs. And I think that we should having professionals like you with this type of training programs. I believe that the challenges are going to be huge. I think that we will have to provide more answers, that will have to be more creative, because the need to have access to information is going to be very important. And I would like to pinpoint the great importance, and I'm glad to hear in the previous comments the relevance of a more coordinated collective work. This is still a challenge. I believe this is an effort of many people. I believe that we have to do our best in order to really promote a coordinated work of collaboration in order to have this collective work. I believe that we also have the huge challenge, and I believe that many of the ones who are working in those organizations to serve individuals, I think the most important challenge has to do with giving their more voice to the ones who are in vulnerability. I think there are so many things they have to say that I believe that we should channel them, and we should try to help this voice.
So I invite you to open your eyes, your minds, and your hearts to continue doing this professional exercise and with whatever that you've learned. I want to wrap up saying that from our different spaces, we're all important, we're all necessary, all efforts are valuable. We need to recognize all of the stakeholders who share the same objective so that people on the move and their conditions improve. I want to thank you from my institution. We believe in the importance of these spaces and we will figuring out more ways of collaborating in the future. You can count on us and congratulations everybody, all participants and facilitators. Congratulations everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Andrea. And not only you not only collaborate with us, but you collaborate in so many other branches of this huge tree that these efforts entail. We are organizing accompaniment efforts, and follow-up wouldn't be possible without the work of these institutions. Hello, I want to say hello to you from Costa Rica in this wonderful sunny afternoon. My name is Nora from State Distance University. I want to say hello from on my behalf on Lenin, Maria Alexandra, Rocio, everybody who organized the effort of this diploma program on psychological first aid for migrants. Getting UNED involved, my university, and Agenda Ciudadana por la Educación was a great initiative. Next year, we're going to have a very interesting project in Central America. Along with other NGOs, we're going to work with a project called My Ride Travels With Me. It's been a huge success to be able to bridge with you and to spread out our network. Congratulations to the graduates and to the organizers of this diploma program. Congratulations, everybody, on the conclusion of this important stage. Um, this diploma program for migrant refugees and displaced persons. I salute you from the Center for the Strengthening of Civil Society in Chihuahua City. I come from Agua Prieta Cerrora, Perla del Ángel. We want to thank the diploma program for giving us the opportunity to participate in this enriching space for migrant persons. I want to acknowledge the work and the dedication and effort from all of you who have made this possible. I would like to congratulate all of you, the students as well, students who are about to graduate. Hello, how are you? Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to say hello to you. My name is Anaí Castillo. I'm in charge of coordination of the Marista Center for Migrant Support in Querétaro. I want to congratulate and to thank you, everybody, the different institutions who are working every day to organize and make this diploma program possible. I would also like to acknowledge the summoning institutions who gave us grants to study in the diploma program. On behalf of the CAMI, I want to say thank you for letting us be part of this. I hope that the knowledge that you learned, everything that was shared along this past few weeks, will stay with you and will allow your team to work and strengthen the tools and strategies for the people that we accompany on an everyday basis because they really need it. Thank you very much and good afternoon, everybody. We're going to continue with our fourth and last block of testimonials. I'm going to hand over to Dr. Nuri Cárdenas from the Centro de Docencia Informática. Nuti has been a facilitator in this diploma program in previous years, and this year CIDE is an ally to us in other projects, but as you might remember, we are developing the module on pandemic and discrimination. This is a joint collaboration, and this was a collaboration ad hoc for this diploma program. Nuti is our ally from CIDE. So Nuti, please enable your mic. Asia, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes, we do. Perfect. First of all, I would like to thank my colleague and dear friend Asha from Iniciativa Ciudadana, Elio Villaseñor too. They've always accompanied me in my professional and personal life, as well as Janet Corona. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this diploma program. Unfortunately, this time I couldn't participate as a facilitator. However, I always keep track of the development of the diploma program. I want to congratulate not only Iniciativa Ciudadana and the other summoning institutions, but I would like to congratulate the participants to the diploma program. For me, this is more of an exercise of collective learning. And I prepared a speech. I wrote down a speech that I would like to read. And this is what I wrote. I celebrate this diploma program. I celebrate you all participants. On this occasion, I couldn't be a facilitator because of force majeure reasons, but I was always there, following close the development of all the issues, especially when you talked about discrimination in a time of pandemic, self-care and emotional health too. Without all this, we can't talk about fully integration of migrants, refugees, and displaced persons. And during this pandemic, we've all learned the importance of self care. Who hasn't felt lonely these days and or feeling the need to go to your friends and families to share and cry? All these feelings, along with extreme vulnerability, are intrinsic characteristics that most part of persons on the move live. Those of you who work to serve these populations as the participants and the facilitators in this diploma program, you know this very well. Your everyday work performed with lots of creativity and sometimes with a lack of resources. You are on the front line to serve people on the move. Sometimes you are the first contact in their journey, their only support. And of course, sometimes you're the only support these people have. So thank you. My gratitude to you all, to every participant, organizers, and teachers. Thank you, dear Nudi. And I'll see you next year for the 7th edition of our diploma program. And we'll continue on this road. And again, I will hand over to different participants who made their final works. I'm going to play the video by Badi Zarate from Guadalajara, Jalisco. He focused on the LGBT population. Hello, everybody. My name is Badi Zarate Jalil. In my final work, I developed a proposal for a decentralized model for to serve LGBT persons and their families. We need to acknowledge the absence of referral mechanisms for LGBT migrant persons who are victims of violence and discrimination within public institutions in the government of Jalisco. There is a lack of migratory policy focused on human rights. Uh, and we need to have the pro-person principle placed at the center of our efforts and actions in relation to migrant service. But most of all, we need to abide by this pro-person principle. We have a two-component strategy. On the one hand, we have the development of an integral protocol of attention and inclusion of migrant persons, migrant LGBT persons, including different responsibilities of public institutions, the civil society, and some members of the academy, recognizing the need of collaborating amongst sectors. We are not only going to focus on in-transit LGBT persons, but we also recognize the need of acknowledging LGBT persons who are refugees or asylum seekers or people who are already there in the receiving country, but who are living extreme poverty situations. On the other hand, we're including semi-fixed units of attention installed on different regions across the state of Jalisco, offering attention, referral, and services with specialized staff on human rights for LGBT persons, and with specializations in legal, psychosocial, and child psychosocial services. We want to include migrant LGBT persons. If they want to settle down in Jalisco, they will have a team of people who will accompany them in their process. Along with this general strategy, we're proposing an interinstitutional coordination board that highlights the need of working with a population living in vulnerability and specializing on the LGBT community. Well, next, let me share the video of Rey David from Las Margaritas, Chiapas. His final work was on women on the move. As I told you before, these final works that we're presenting here are just a token amount and a very small sample of all the final works that participants created, not only from this side of the screen, but also on the other side of the screen too. Let me remind you that if you haven't done this, you need to write one word on the link that I'm sharing, one word that describes your whole experience during this diploma program. And my colleagues are going to help me to post the link again. You can write down whatever word that comes to your mind, and you can write down a bunch of words, but only one word. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rey David Cruz Aguilar. I am a participant on the 6th edition of this diploma program on psychological first aid for migrants, refugees, and displaced persons. This video is my final work. It has to do with the creation of psychosocial attention models. I chose women on the move, women in migration. I chose this population because I'm familiar with them when it comes to accompaniment. I also chose this population because this group has always been marginalized. They've always, their rights have always been violated because of their gender, according to the World Association for Migrations. Almost half of the persons who migrate around the world are women. And according to the Mexican Commission of Assistance to Refugees, 41% of the applications in our center are done by women. So this illustrates the impact for this vulnerable group who has always lived under systematic violence and oppression. I am using the integral accompaniment model. That's a model that's very widely used in my institution. And we take into consideration gender and intersectionality focuses. Like that, we can visualize vulnerabilities and the needs according to the different profiles of persons, depending on their level of risk. It is important to mention that within this model, I could work with the route that we work with, but at the same time, we incorporated new elements that I acquired during the study of this diploma program. I tried to put special attention on psychosocial needs and on the psychosocial needs that emerged during the pandemic. We have a protocol of attention, and we are involving different organizations, government organizations, civil organizations, and international organizations that work in Comitán de Domínguez, because we want to give an internal response, and we want to respond to the different needs, their food needs, and those people who need international protection. We also cover that part. So this is my final work, and as I mentioned, I took into consideration the different focuses. I included patriarchy, capitalism, colonialism, all these elements that represent oppression for women. Now, let me share the video by Roberto Hernandez from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Grupo Destino y Libertad. His video is a little bit long. And Roberto, if you allow us, we're only going to play a few minutes. And we're going to share the link on the chat if you want to see the full video. And please don't forget to fill up that cloud with words. I am Roberto Hernandez. I'm a counselor on addictions. I'm a specialist on addiction. I am the coordinator of the GDL South, Grupo Destino y Libertad, Service Unit and Recovery. The work that we perform in my institution is rather difficult, but I think someone has to do it. In my own experience, well, I made the decision 10 years ago in 2010 to start with this house. So I created this space to help people who don't have the means to pay for rehab, to recover from drug and alcohol addiction. People that stay at this home have been living in the US for many years, so they have nowhere to stay in Mexico. They have no bonds, no family members, and for them Mexico is a brand new country. So that's why I called it Casa de Vida, or House for Life, because we teach them to acquire different life skills. We help them, we accompany them, we guide them to set off on life projects. Quote unquote, this is innovative for me. This is something new because it emerged in a community where this type of service to address these communities wouldn't exist before. These persons lived in the US their entire lives. The majority of them lived in the US for most of their lives, and they came back to Mexico because they got into jail, or maybe because they got tired of living in the US and they wanted to come back to Mexico. And we integrate several models. The backbone of our program is the 12 steps model in Spanish or in English, because Spanish is spoken and allowed, English too. We call, and if you want to mix up both languages, you can also do so, the so-called Spanglish. And we have another social model. We have the model known as the therapeutic community model. That's another model. These are American models used in rehab centers, prisons, or different centers in the US. In a little bit more, in a little while, we're going to share the link so that you can watch the entire video. And finally, I'm going to pass the floor symbolically to Fe Alegría, this team from Honduras. They worked on adolescents, and here they are. Adolescents in the context of mobility. As a representative from Fe Alegría, Honduras, we are centering our final work on adolescents, all All groups deserve attention and service, but we chose the adolescents. We, as social institution, have the responsibility of promoting development and adaptation of teenagers, and we want to have an efficient intervention. The psychosocial attention elements that we were able to spot are several, but we want to stress out physical health. We want to safeguard integrity, and we want to cover their basic needs. The difficulties we encountered when at the time of providing with interinstitutional attention, we detected that their rights were being violated. Adolescents were excluded from their rights, and when they are migrants, they can become victims of exploitation, abuse, and people trafficking. There is a lack of clarity in the creation of interinstitutional protocols to give integral attention to these groups. Something that we're proposing in our organization, we developed a protocol for girls who have been victims of sexual abuse. We need to use this as a guide. We need to serve the populations based on their needs, psychosocial attention. We need to refer them to entities who can provide with health care or education, amongst other basic services. We are referring them with a contact person they can go to. That's why our proposal includes the psychosocial accompaniment of teenagers. And I hope that you find our project useful. Unfortunately, technology is playing a lot of pranks on us, and we won't play the video of Rosameli Mesa from Casa Monarca because unfortunately we're not nailing it and we can't project it, but we're going to share the link with you. All these works are just a sample of the richness of contents that you produced after uh, having attended to the lessons in this diploma program. You strengthened many skills and you started using them. All your ideas, all your actions, some of them you could systematize in these videos. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, this is just a launching pad for you to start flying. You can always come back to us to continue working in a collaborative way. Now let's do an exercise. We're going to take a picture, a collective picture. Anywhere you are, look around you and try to find a plant or a photograph, a book or something that represents your pass through this diploma program. I chose this heart because, well, it is a symbol of the diploma program. Our logo is a heart, and I already knew this. But look, find something around you, and let's try to take a collaborative picture.
¿Quieres que cambiemos, Jenny?
And please write down your words on the chat, and you have 2 minutes. Let's resume at 5:32. So you have 2 minutes for look around for your objects, and when I give you the signal, we will show our object on the screen. So you still have 1 minute.
I
Well,
cannot
I
give you all the floor, but to know what it means, but we have a Facebook group from the course, and right there you can post a message representing the object you picked, and we can all read them jointly. Doesn't matter if you don't have a camera, you can put it in Facebook. I think most of us are part of FB, so we will be reading all of you, and let us continue with this conversation. If you were not able to have your object, please take a picture and place it in Facebook. Now I'm going to be sharing with you the last part of words recorded by the different ones involved in this course. To all the ones who were part of this course, I want to congratulate all of you. Congratulations for concluding this course, but specifically for the great effort it represented before the new reality we are experiencing. We have to pay attention to our health and specifically emotional health. Undoubtedly, this course. Elio, please turn off your microphone. Excuse me. I will turn it off right now. Now the next video. And with this, we will be closing this block of presentations. Congratulations very much for reaching today. We know that this have been 4 months of hard work. All the ones who are part of this special certificate course in psychological first aid for migrants, refugees, and displaced persons feel very happy. It has been very gratifying to be part of you and to learn jointly. I believe these troubled times give us this learning, this lesson of what it means, the accompaniment, what it means that we can work before adversity. And this implies all the individuals with which we work, the ones who are undergoing mobility, as well as ourselves. I truly believe that the ones who already have a wide experience in the daily work will be able to find in this course a tool, an additional tool that will inspire you to continue, and that the ones who are just beginning will find a seed in order to flourish and to grow up these seeds. This is not a goodbye. I hope to see you very soon. Greetings. It's a pleasure to see again, dear people, during these classes of the course. And finally, I want to share with you the results in our cloud. Well, the key here is that the largest words will be the words that are repeated, and we can see the words such as empathy, accompaniment, collaboration, commitment, knowledge, learning, self-care, listening, solidarity, humanity. Among the several words, these words are part of the learnings this course has given to all of us. And undoubtedly, this wouldn't be possible without the participation of each one of you, as well as the institutions that were involved in this project. Well, if you want to take a picture of the screen, we will be sharing it to all of you. But this one represents an example of all the feeling, of all the excitement this course has given us. As I already told you before, in each one of the sessions of the course, this is the first time that we or that an interpretation is carried out of the whole course in a language different from Spanish. Last year we had a pilot. This year, before the pandemic, there was a group of interpreters who are in a very committed and professional way did each one of the interpretations of each one of the classes. And of course, this course has technical words, so it was a double effort. And this group represents a network of more than 30 interpreters who were part of our course. But there are two individuals who coordinated at large this strategy of coordination, specifically Josefina Mcgregor and Tere Guzman, who I would like to give the floor. And please, you have the floor. Asia, first of all, I would like to tell you that interpreters are not only happy for being part of it, but they are thankful. You see this as a support, and we hope it is so for all the group, but nevertheless, they think this is a good way to have a positive feedback in life. They've been learning a lot of things in these workshops, and they want to thank you for allowing them to be part of it. Specifically, I would like to thank each one of them for the commitment, the fact that they had to deal with the learning of technology as well as different issues. So thank you very much for allowing them to be part of this course. And I want to thank all the colleagues who did so. And I would like to ask Tere Guzman, who coordinated this carefully, to take the floor. Thank you very much, Fina. Thank you, Asia, because I believe this was a great effort, a teamwork. Last year, as Asia already said, we were part of the sessions of the course that took place last year. The results were very good, not only for all of you, but also for all the colleagues who were part of this course at that moment, for the ones who provided the interpretation services, because it was a physical or face-to-face interpretation. Last year, I think we had 12 sessions. This year, we had 37 sessions. Each session requires a teamwork of two interpreters. So it was a great coordination effort, of course, but nevertheless, together with Asia, and the fact that we were able to validate what was working, what was not working, to share best practices in order to do this remote interpretation in this pandemic year, and also to see what better fitted the program. With all the interpreters with whom we've been working, the truth is that the experience has been very positive, as Josefina pointed out, and all of them are very enthusiastic for being part of it, for putting a seed, and in this pandemic time to be able to have this feeling of having a proposal, of having an objective, because a good part of our work and professional work was stopped due to obvious reasons. So the fact that we were able to be part of this course allowed us to have a project and to be part of our professional objective during this very complicated year. Without the support of Asia, her collaboration, her support, all the materials she gave us so that all of our colleagues were able to be prepared, this wouldn't have been possible. And of course, without all of them, right now we have two of them still working with us in this closing session. And the truth is that we give them a great hug with great thanks. And we want to thank, as I already said, Asia. And I hope this is a seed so that all of you will be able to achieve your objectives, to have the learning you expected, and to be able to have these networks, Sandra, more professional for the great work you carry out with all of these groups that are facing such a specific situation. So it's a great pleasure for us to be here in this closing session, and I want to thank all of you also for your patience regarding technical issues and everything. And we are right here as part of the team, and we want to thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, Asia. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. And also, once again, this is just a sample of the huge network of interpreters who, in a very professional way, were part of us. In a very professional way, we learned and we improved during the course, and we were able to have this final session. So I want to congratulate all interpreters. And now I would like to give the floor to my boss, Elio Villaseñor, who is the director of Iniciativa Ciudadana, who is one of the most important benchmarks and consultants of this course, and of the minds who work in a very strong way in the design and implementation of each one of the courses we've been able to have. Elio, you have the floor. Thank you very much, Asia. I would like to share with you what Asia said at the beginning. She said that this was a festivity, this closing session. And yes, I do believe that this is a closing session in which we have been able to share messages and impacts that this sixth edition has been able to have, from generating these toolboxes, how this certificate course contributed to enrich each one of the experiences you have. I believe that this has this festivity hue of sharing all of these efforts, as well as the happiness of building together this sixth edition of the certificate course. At the same time, I would like to pinpoint some results, as many of you have said, in this very difficult situation. But thanks to this situation, we were able to find out that nearly 90% of the individuals who were enrolled in this course participated. This is something that we would like to stress as a great achievement of this course. A lot of people did it directly, and whenever they were not able to do so, they were trying to get the information and to continue with the process of the course. Nevertheless, I do believe that this is one of the things that we would like to stress. The ones who summoned, the ones that were the teachers, and specifically all the ones who participated in this course, the value we all provided, this seed that had to do with trust. I think that the environment we had along more than 4 months of this course, we were able to see that trust was during all this time. And I think this is a value in this specific time we are facing in the planet, represents the core value to build new future plans. Trust represents the foundation in order to continue working interactively. And this is something that each one of you built together, and therefore the result represents trust. That is why we are very happy to achieve this. The other thing that I would like to stress, Josefina and Tere already talked about that, is the fact that this course was totally bilingual, and around 50 people in English participated in this course, some of them from Europe or the US, some others from Africa. They had this opportunity of getting the message in English. I think this is another plus that we can stress, the fact that we were able to have a bilingual course. Another aspect that I would like to stress is that even though we were not able to be physically in this course, we were able to create new collaboration systems to work as a team. And we created virtual teams, and we were able to work together without losing this fact that has to do with the fabric that we have to contribute to and to be able to continue developing the project in different aspects. I believe these aspects that even though we were able to keep the spirit, as Dr. Rodolfo Garcia Zamora, my friend, said, no one can do it by himself. Everything, all actions have to do part of a teamwork in order to find a solution as a group. So I believe that in this regard, this is something that we were able to do it in this course. I would like to thank Iniciativa Ciudadana, to all the ones who summoned, because basically the ones who promoted this course were in practice, each one of them owned this project and made it part of themselves in order to invite everyone to be part of this project. And also professors, facilitators, all the ones who were involved in order to make this sixth edition possible. I want to thank all the ones who frequently are not seen, or someone who is frequently seen, who is Asayen Adame, who is our academic coordinator, who is the heart of this project, who is always there updating us in this regard. But there are some other two people who also worked with her, Janet Corona, who was also there, Carlos Olvera, who got in touch with all of you. Every week they used to get together 2 or 3 times a day in order to assess and to get the best results to avoid losing the project of this course. I believe we should give them a hand and thank them for this great effort they've been doing, together with the ones who summoned together, to all of you, because thanks to this work we were able to make this course feasible. And finally, I would like to tell you that all of us who think that the sixth edition of this course has to be renewed, and has to be renewed according to the environment that for sure we will be facing in the next year. We are not only talking about being resistant to what we have not been able to solve to continue going in the future. We should also try to find new wording so that the changes that will take place in the future, we have the values of empathy, tolerance, and to continue working on solidarity. I believe those are the strengths that we want to propose to all of you, so that the sixth edition will have the work of defining which will be the basic pillars to build the new wording of the future, so migrants will be able to have a better life, and we all will have a human face to face the new challenges of the new reality. I want to hug at the distance each one of you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Elio. Now I am going to give the floor to Leticia Maki Teramoto, who is the General Director of the Exterior Protection Institution from the Foreign Minister. Specifically, the consulates in the U.S. have been supporting the project. More than 50% of our seats in the U.S. are in the Mexican consulates, and the consulate of different nationalities. These years, this didn't happen due to the mobility problems. Nevertheless, we had a strong presence of the consular staff participating in this course. I think that at least more than 50% of the U.S. consulates have been taking the course. It's been a great pleasure, and therefore I want to give you the floor.
Muchas gracias. Les agradezco la
Thank you very
invitación
much. I want to
para dar
thank
estas
you for
palabras
this
al final de
invitation to
su
present
sexto
these
curso.
words at the
Me
closing of your
alegra
sixth
compartir
course.
este
It's a
último
great happiness for
espacio
me to
con
share
colegas
this final
efectivamente de las
space with the
representaciones
colleagues
consulares
from
de
the
México en
consulate
Estados
representations
Unidos.
of Mexico in
Veo
the
al cónsul
U.S.
Obrador
I
en
can
Filadelfia,
see Consul
Luis Lara,
Obregón in
nuestro director de
Philadelphia, Luis
protección en
Lara,
Estados
well,
Unidos, que además es
Director
un
of
experto
Protection in the
en
U.S.,
materia
who
de
is
pena
an
capital.
expert regarding
Y muy
capital
especialmente me da gusto
penalty.
ver a
And
Lenny
specifically, I
González,
want to
que
say that
hace
I'm very
pues
happy
8
to see
años que no
Lenny
la veía yo,
Gonzalez. I
desde mis
hadn't seen
épocas de
her
la
6 years
embajada
ago
en
since
Washington.
I was in the embassy
Me
in
da mucho
Washington.
gusto saber que
It's a
existen
great pleasure
estos
for me
recursos
to know
para
that
apoyar
we have these
a
resources
las
to
personas
support
que tenemos que
individuals.
atender
We
casos de
have
personas
to
vulnerables. En nuestra
serve
línea de
of
acción,
these
pues todos los
vulnerable people
mexicanos
in
en el
action.
exterior
Our
son
line,
personas
all foreign
vulnerables en principio. Si
Mexicans are
tienen
vulnerable
cuestiones
people, specifically if they
psicológicas, pues
have
son doble
psychological
vulnerables. Y si
aspects, they
además son
have a
mujeres y
double
son menores,
vulnerability,
bueno,
and if they are
triples
women
y
and
cuádruples, ¿no?
children, triple and
Sé que
quadruple.
en este
Nevertheless, I
diplomado
do know that in this course,
los participantes conocieron
participants
de maneras de manejar los casos,
learned a different way to
de cómo
manage
realizar las
cases,
entrevistas,
how to carry
leer los
out
lenguajes
interviews,
corporales
to read
y la dimensión
the body
colectiva de la salud y
languages and the
de todo lo que eso
collective
implica,
dimension
por
of
lo menos, por
health,
ejemplo,
and
en nuestro
everything
caso,
this
en todos
represents, at least
los programas que
specifically
tenemos
in
de
the different
protección a mexicanos en
programs
el
we
exterior.
have in order
Les
to
agradezco
provide
mucho la
protection of
invitación.
foreigners
Muchas
abroad.
felicidades a
Thank you
todos
very much for the
por
invitation.
las semanas
Congratulations
invertidas
to
en
all
el
of
curso, que
you
sé que
for
van a
these
ser
weeks
muy
you
útiles
invested
en
in
sus
this
vidas
course.
profesionales.
I am
Muchas
sure that
gracias.
these are going to be very useful in your professional lives. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Director, and I hope to see you soon next year, hoping we will be able to have it remotely or physically or online. Either way, we will be here with you in the next edition. Thank you very much for your support during all of these years. And finally, last but not least, I would like to give the floor to Mark Malley, who is the representative in Mexico for the High Commissioner from the United Nations for Refugees, ACNUR. He has been one of the main allies during this sixth edition. And during these 6 years, they have been funding several spaces so that individuals from different roles, from the government, international institutions, civil society can take this course. It's a great pleasure to close with Mark this course and specifically to do the symbolic closing ceremony of this course. Thank you very much, Asia, for giving me the honor, the possibility of addressing to all of you this afternoon. It is a great pleasure for ACNUR to be part to a wider effort, to be part of an amazing number of institutions that are involved in this course, either as co-organization staff or as speakers or participants. I do believe that we are all testing ourselves during these years. So I think this course has become very relevant. So after listening to the words you presented on the screen, empathy, collaboration, learning, self-care, probably I would like to say that these words represent huge challenges we are all facing, and therefore It makes us very happy to have this possibility of supporting this course. As I said, or as it has frequently been said along this ceremony, we are as society testing ourselves at present due to the fact that we are facing present challenges, plus the very important challenges that we are facing as a result of the pandemic. At this moment, we can see the impact of the pandemic on Central America in economic issues, social, regarding public health issues, but also impact on what has to do with human rights, impact on security, and therefore on those factors that are fostering people to migrate. The same thing is happening obviously elsewhere in the continent in Venezuela, as well as here in Mexico. Therefore, we will have to work even stronger on the different issues that have been presented along the course. And there are several things that I would like to stress. One is precisely what has to do with the xenophobia. We are very happy to see that this year there was a session headed by Alejandra Haas and Drew Phillips on what has to do with xenophobia, what has to do with the importance of having public policies in Mexico as well as in elsewhere that will facilitate integration. If we are not able to do so, it is very clear that we will be facing serious impacts regarding xenophobia. We already have learned lessons from other countries at global regarding the consequences as well as the migration processes for refugee individuals. So this is something that represents a very important challenge for next year, bearing in mind that, of course, we are all concerned due to the vaccination. Also, this year we were very happy to see that precisely the topic of pandemic was the main focus of the presentations. We didn't have any other alternative. But nevertheless, we can talk about the challenges that we are facing in actual world in order to continue working in the migration context, in order to protect refugees, the challenges shelters have had and the way they've been able to overcome these challenges. This is something that will take us to the topic that we have every year in the course that has to do with self-care. In our specific case, it has been very important also during this year because we have been able to experience in our own flesh the impact of the pandemic in our own health and mental health. And finally, and once again, this is a topic that has been presented frequently, what has to do on networking, collaborating among institutions. And I believe that the discussion or debate this afternoon in the closing session has presented once again the relevance of adding efforts, of taking advantage of the great knowledge that we have in the institutions and as well as among the individuals who are part of this course. And clearly adding effort, we will be more, not less. So it has been a very important year knowing the figures regarding the number of participants. It's amazing. Besides having teachers or speakers that are really good, we had more than 508 people involved. It was a great honor for us to be part of having 93 people and to work with many of the organizations with which we have been able to be in touch on daily basis to respond in the humanitarian field.
So before moving on to formally close this event, I would like to congratulate Asha and Elio for their professionalism year after year. They have allowed us and other organizations to give our feedback. So thank you very much to you both, Elio and Asha. And before I wrap up, I would like to say that today we are releasing the bulletin of this diploma program. We have a very interesting focus, which is best practices. Vis-a-vis the pandemic, from a migratory standpoint, we have a note on the work of Casa del Migrante Saltillo, what they've been doing to provide with humanitarian assistance. Because in Saltillo, they are giving accompaniment for people who want to settle down in Saltillo and for others who are in transit to the US. And we have a new shelter run by Hospitalidad y Solidaridad in Tapachula. This shelter houses more than 250 people. It has more than 300 beds. Something very important for us looking into the future. We have a note, an article on the contribution of health professionals in the COVID-19 crisis. We've done a lot of progress in Mexico in this regard, but there is a lot of work to still be done. We need to incorporate the public opinion, and we need to talk about the big difference that asylum seekers and refugees can make to society, and the strong benefit that they entail for receiving economies. I invite you to carefully read our bulletin. Having said this, I think we can formally close the 6th edition of this diploma program on psychological first aid for migrants, refugees, and displaced persons. I think we can turn on your camera and give a hand. Thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure. And here's my kid because he wants to celebrate with us all. Thank you. Mark, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Now you can pamper yourselves at home, go grab a glass of wine or something that you like and treat yourselves. Since we don't want to say goodbye, but let's turn on your cameras. Let's turn on our cameras and have our picture taken. Carlos Olvera. 1, 2, 3. Let's rest for a few seconds and once more. Carlos Olvera is going to help us out. Thank you very much, and see each other next year. A big virtual hug and good evening, everybody. Bye bye.